Okay, so I'm starting on page 405. This is what you did for homework last week. And you should have these answers: exponential decay, quadratic, linear growth, and exponential growth. And then I want to know, how can we use the tables? So if we didn't have the graphs and we didn't have a place to put things on the graph, like how could we find this based on a pattern? And my pattern right here is -4 or divide 2. My pattern here is -2 or divide 2. Those two patterns match. Let's see if we divide 2 again. Nice. So this is a divide 2 pattern. Any dividing pattern is exponential. Anytime it's divide, it's a decay. So right here, I've got -6, I have no dividing pattern. I have -2, that pattern doesn't match. Okay, so I'm trying to see if I see any other pattern looking at this table. And I see a 6 matching a 6, I see a 0 matching a 0, and then this would be our middle point or our vertex. So we're looking for that match pattern. And that matching pattern makes a quadratic function. Fun fact, it's a positive because it's an upwards U shape. So let's go again. There's no dividing pattern there. This is a +2 pattern. It might not look like +2, but remember it's getting less negative. +2, +2 again, +2 again. It is an adding pattern, which means it's linear, and it's a growth because it's positive. Let's try this one. From here to here, that's kind of hard. Let's try this. 1 to 2 is ×2 or +1. 2 to 4 is ×2 or +2. So the times pattern matches. Let's double check it. ×2. So this is exponential because it's a multiply, and it's a growth because multiplying is growing while dividing is decaying. So what I would like you to do here is exponential is a multiply divide pattern where the multiply is growth and the divide is decay. Linear is an add subtract pattern where the add is growth and the subtract is decay. Then we have quadratic. Look for matches. I might also call this mirroring. Okay, so you already did page 406. You already did page 407. So now I am looking at page 408. Okay. Petite and Ryu each threw a baseball in the air. When they threw a baseball, it made this pattern. Okay. The vertical height of Petite's ball is represented by the graph. So this is Petite. And then Ryu's is written over here. So our t right now is the x-axis, and then this is our y. So at 0, it's 86. At 0.5, it's 98. And you're going to keep going, and you're going to graph this. So you'll pause this video, you'll go graph. Then for homework, you're going to answer these questions. We'll go over them in office hours if you have questions. Okay. Again, you're going to answer these questions. We'll go over them in office hours if you don't understand. Page 410, we're going to skip. We know our average rate of change. Page 411, we're going to skip. And that should take you to the end of a packet. Okay. So, I'm switching over to a different packet now. And I'm starting on page 415. It should look like this. Okay. We're going to talk about some key things here. We're going to talk about this is negative and this is positive. This being a negative causes it to be upside down. It's sad. This one's positive. It causes it to be a U shape. It's happy. This represents my X, and it's always the opposite. So right now it's a 0. It doesn't do a whole lot, but this represents my X. It's always an opposite. Right now it's a 0. The oppositeness doesn't mean much. Okay. This represents my Y. It's always the same. So that tells us it didn't move up or down. This represents my Y. It's always the same. This tells us it moved down 4. Okay. Notice that this is matching or mirroring. So notice that point matches that point matches that point matches that point, all the way across. They're all matching or mirroring. And this will be an important line. Okay. So, on page 416, I want to talk about x squared. So if I take negative 3 and I square it, I get 9. If I take negative 2 and I square it, I get positive 4. If I take negative 1 and I square it, I get 1. If I take 0 and I square it, I get 0. If I take 1 and I square it, I get 1. If I take 2 and I square it, I get 4. If I take 3 and I square it, I get 9. Notice this matches. Notice they match. Notice they match. That makes this point that does not match my vertex. So 0, 0 is a special point. It's called a vertex. This makes a U shape at 1, 1, at 2, 4, at 3, 9, and it mirrors all the way across. And the thing that we call the mirror is a line of symmetry. And we're going to shorten this to LOS. And sometimes the book uses AOS, where the A stands for axis. Okay. So, I want you to go through and I want you to do your best on this. I want you to tell me about each of these things. So I want you to tell me, is this a positive parabola, a negative parabola? I want you to go through and tell me what you think this stands for, what you think that stands for. I want you to tell me, is it happy? Is it sad? So I want you to try this page 417, sorry, on your own. And then we'll go over it on Thursday.